my cup with some Java love. Sit on down, let's talk it up. I know some laughing lattes, laughing lattes.
Welcome to Life and Lattes with Liv and Cole. I'm Cole, and Liv's not here today. Liv went on a trip with her husband to Colorado, and she is actually coming home today while we're recording, but I couldn't wait on her. So today, I have my girlfriend, Audrey DeFoe, on the show.
Hey.
Welcome. She's going to be awkward, just so you know. She wasn't super pumped on this, and she's normally really quiet, but she's here, so welcome.
Well.
Love it. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and skip right into this. We are drinking Nespresso coffee today. We were in a hurry and needed to make coffee really quickly, and it's so convenient. Which one are you drinking?
I'm drinking the pumpkin spice.
It's super tasty.
So good. I definitely think it's better than the Starbucks.
Really?
Yeah, I like it's more spicy than pumpkin-y.
Yeah.
Those both
you're
are
making me
weird.
laugh.
Why? Because I'm so awkward.
Yeah, and you're on the show. Like,
I'm
it's
just
great.
like cringing.
I know you were with you came on with Liv and her sister, so it's just fun that you're finally with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, it's her favorite. When we went to Nespresso and we bought it, they gave us this little recipe sheet, and it was, what was it? It's, you do the coffee and then you put white chocolate in it, and what else? White chocolate. Oh, a little bit of milk, warmed milk. Mm-hmm. And then you top it off with whipped cream, right?
And caramel.
Oh, yeah. Right. Caramel. Oh, careful. Don't be hitting the mic now.
Sorry. Sorry, Kate.
But yeah, so super good. If you use that recipe, like I said, they gave us the card and it was supposed to be like pumpkin spice cake, blah, 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 blah. You know. So we do that a lot. Mine is the Audacio, which is my favorite one. That was the mystery blue pod that Liv and I talked about on the Nespresso episode. And finally, they were like, yeah, we're printing the names on the pods, finally. So thank goodness, because I was like, mystery blue. I went in to buy it, and I was like, I don't know what it's called, but it's dark blue. They knew, though.
We really haven't had a bad coffee from there.
No.
I think there was one, maybe.
We bought the hazelnut, and I was not happy with it.
Yeah. But we drank it all.
The Hazelino. No, there's a couple in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I won't touch them. I was trying to get people to drink. I think I made one for somebody the other day. I was like, please drink this. I don't like the aftertaste. It's weird.
Yeah.
But on that same subject with Nespresso, they're coming out with their holiday flavors. Mm-hmm. So what was there's princess cake.
Mm-hmm. And cinnamon swirl.
Cinnamon swirl, which they use a cinnamon roll as the picture.
So good.
I don't think they're out yet, but I think it comes out soon.
I think you can go and try them now at the stores.
I need to do that.
Yeah.
ASAP.
We do.
Sorry, I had to drink it with coffee. So today we're going to talk about a couple different things. First, let's talk about this box that we have sitting in front of us. If you're watching on YouTube, you've probably seen it. If you're not, there is a bright pink box with some logos on it. Recently, we went to Nashville, Tennessee, one of our favorite places to go and visit. We just went for a day trip, and we love to go to Five Daughters Bakery. They have donuts, and they're called 100-layer donuts. It's kind of like a croissant dough to a certain degree, but they do their own thing to it. And they have the coolest flavors and a bunch of different stuff going on. You can just go in, get some coffee, and eat some donuts. Now, they're not the cheapest donuts. They're like $4 and something a piece, but worth every single penny.
Oh, yes.
If you're close to Nashville, or even if you're not close to Nashville, go check them out. $5 Bakery, the best donuts. So we have a couple today. I'm going to open this up here. Their packaging is fantastic, and their logos and everything. There's 2 or 3 different locations. I think there's 3.
Yeah.
They're all pretty close, but they're all surrounding the city, so it's super easy to at least find one and go check them out. If you go early, they're normally, or especially on the weekend and stuff, they sell out quick.
Oh, yeah.
So we have 2. We have a King Kong, which is like a mapley bacon one, which I haven't tried yet. And then we also have a pumpkin cheesecake. So while I talk about a couple things, I will let you, Audrey, try the pumpkin cheesecake because that looks messy.
I know, it's like melting chocolate everywhere.
That sounds horrible. That sounds like the worst thing ever.
I don't know. Have a donut filled with cheesecake and chocolate.
Right. I'm excited for the one with the bacon on it.
I know.
But definitely check it out. It's literally a couple that has 5 daughters, correct? Uh-huh. Yeah. So you can check them out on social media. Definitely huge shout out to them. How is it?
So good.
A lot of them are like filled. So this one is like the donut itself. It looks like it's got some sugar on the outside of it, like some just, like sprinkled sugar on it. And is there like a pumpkin icing on top? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the filling is supposed to be like cheesecake. And I'm guessing that's what it is, yes?
It tastes like a pumpkin spice cheesecake.
Really?
But it's like doughy. So good. Actually might take first place.
What?
Yeah.
Over all our other favorites?
Yeah.
Man. We tried, one of my favorite ones is the vanilla something. What is
Vanilla
it?
cream, maybe?
Vanilla cream, something like that. Like you can tell it's like covered in powdered sugar, and then it's got like it looks like an icing ring on top of it, and it's filled with like, I don't know, it's like a vanilla something, because I don't want to say it's not like a cream because it has a like a lighter consistency, like it's more of a
Whipped cream.
kind of. But it's more liquidy. I know that sounds weird, but like, I don't know. It's super good. That's like my go-to. But anyways,
Yeah.
so definitely try them.
Yeah, you need to try that.
Perfect marriage of coffee and pastry. So
Yeah, and they change them every month. So like this month they had a s'mores one, and that's the one that I got. It was like graham cracker filling, and it had chocolate icing and a big marshmallow on top for October. So good. Fantastic, right?
wow, that's super good.
I know. I wasn't expecting that, honestly.
There's a lot going on. I will say, if you could eat more than one in a sitting, there's something wrong with you. They are so sugary. Mm-hmm. Not in a bad way, but it's just like if you sat there and ate like a couple, you'd have like a tummy ache.
Yeah, I definitely feel like some of them are more of a dessert than a breakfast.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I could eat it for dessert.
Yeah. Traditionally, you'd be like, oh, I'm going to eat one for breakfast. But like, if you finish one, you'd be like, and then, they come down. It would freak you out. But try them. They're awesome. The pumpkin one, I'm not sure how long it's going to be around, but it's super good.
Yeah.
Check out their website. Don't they? I think they have like a live view that you can like see the donuts in the case, right?
Because when they run out for the day, they close.
Right. But they're open till
10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. I'm sure they never make it to that.
No. I know when we were there at like 10 in the morning or something, when we were there, they were talking about how they were on their last row of something.
Right. Yeah, and that was a Monday, so they were a little slow, but it was nice because like on the weekends it's really hard to get in there.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, that's the coffee and the donuts. Check.
Check.
Now we're gonna get into the real nitty gritty.
Now I'm
She
nervous.
was so excited for this.
Oh yeah.
We thought today we would talk about our relationship and couples and little things like that because we have you gotta stop hitting the mic.
I know.
Come on now. But no, so talk about like our dynamics and things like that because there's a lot of stuff that we have to deal with and it's different. And I know that there's a lot of other couples that do have to deal with some of the same things and sometimes it's flip-flopped roles and things like that. So we just wanted to kind of talk about it and I'm actually interested to kind of hear some more of her feelings on this subject. To give some background, and I'm not going to go like super in-depth. If you're interested in hearing more, I was just on Triflix podcast, episode 5, I believe. It kind of explains a little bit more of my background and some of the things that have happened in the past couple of years. But I was previously married, and that ended at some point. And so with that being said, again, like I said, if you want to hear more about that, I'm not going to like go super in depth. Like don't need to dig all that stuff up. But anyways, so that is over with, obviously, and it's been a little while, and that's kind of how Audrey and I met. And we knew each other previously for it was like 4 years or something like that.
I was friends with your brother.
Yeah, we just like kind of saw each other in passing, and of course never thought twice about each other. It was just like, oh yeah, that's like Cade's friend or whatever, you you like hung out with the girls and stuff like that. So we had interacted before, but just on and off again, like just kind of like friends. So I probably hadn't seen you in what, like a couple years?
Yeah.
Because
I went to South Carolina.
There you go.
Yeah. I went to college there my first semester and realized that I did not like it, and I moved back. And then when I moved back, I really didn't know what to do with myself. So I kind of took a year to myself, really, and just like never really went out or anything, and just tried to figure some things out and keep myself in college and stuff and trying to find a path. And so then the first night that I actually like went and hung out with the old group, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
He was there.
Yeah. So I hadn't really been doing much. I was like in a weird, not a weird place, but like I had finally like settled down. I felt good. Like, like everything came to a head. It was in the process of finalization, and it had been a long time since, gosh, it had been forever since we had even like lived together, or, like that stuff was like, it was done. I knew she was done. And so like we were both in that state of like, okay, now it's time to move forward. And I was just like chilling and just like hanging out. Like, so I was with Cade and Levi that night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we came up to Broad Ripple, and we were just gonna hang out. Had no idea she was gonna be there. And we went out that night, and we like closed down Rock Lobster in Broad Ripple. We were there till like 3 a.m.
Oh yeah.
Which was super fun. But it was like in that moment of everything, like we talked about issues like in my life, and she was kind of talking about some of the things that were going on in her life. And so we just like connected, I felt like at that moment. And I don't know if she feels the same way or not. Like we've talked about this, but maybe not as much in depth. But I did for sure. So I was like, well, like what's the harm? And like her best friend was there. So I talked to her and I was like, so like, what do you think? Like, do you think I could talk to her? And she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, you should. So I did. And we talked that night, like a ton. And then it was super funny. Like the next day I texted you, and it took you forever to text me back. And
there was like a snowstorm, and I actually stayed with Amber that night. And so I was like trying to drive home, and he like texted me right before I left. And it took me like an hour and a half to get home because the snow was so bad. And I'm like, I'm not going to text in the snowstorm. But it was so funny because Amber, I was with her that morning, and she knew everything, and I knew she did, and she didn't even mention it. And I was like, was I dreaming, or, is this real, So it was crazy.
Yeah, I had to get the sign of approval first, like to make sure that I could even say anything, right? Because she'd be like, oh, I don't know. Or she'd be like, Audrey's weird. You don't want none of that. Had to double check. Because I like knew you a little bit, but obviously like, everybody makes assumptions about people and so it's like, that's why we talked about it. We're like, we got to get together and just talk. And what was it? That was like Friday. And then like Sunday, we went and met at the Starbucks downtown, and we talked for like 4 hours.
Yeah, we just sat there, and it was so funny. We were just like, we were on the same page though. Yeah. Like we went there, and we both knew your situation. We were both like, okay, like if we're gonna date, like how's this gonna work? Mm-hmm. We kind of just like laid it all out. Like it's gonna take some time to see the girls, and
Yes, because I'm sure most people who are listening know that I do have 2 kids. They were with her, with my previous wife, however you want to say it. It's still very odd to say things like that. It always feels awkward, and like I don't know how to talk about it. I'm sure the people who have been through that know that. But we had talked about that extensively. Like, when is it right? And, obviously it took a while.
Yeah.
It was smart to wait for sure, because you just don't know about those things, and kids get attached. So it was smart to wait and see where things were going with us. And
Oh, yeah.
now we're coming up on 2 years.
Yeah. I still remember like the first time I met the girls, and they're like little chipmunk voices. All I remember, they were like, ah! Like right when I walked in, I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, that was, it's kind of funny. Like, I know we're probably going to keep branching off of this main subject, but by the time that happened, it was so difficult because I had to change living situations because money was tight because of, divorce is expensive. All those things were happening. I didn't work for a little while. And so I had to switch where I was living, and I had switched literally right before I met Audrey. Mm-hmm. So like that happened, and I was living with another roommate. He was a guy. So it was like my house was just like dudes, and then the girls would come over. And so I always felt bad because it was like weird, and it's difficult because I can only do so much, and I'm still a guy, so like I can try as hard as I can to fill both roles, but that is so difficult. Mm-hmm. So I was somewhat anxious for you to meet them because like it helps, like you've been able to help like do their hair or play Barbies, or they just like girls connect on a different level.
Yeah, for sure.
And I get that because it's difficult. There's plenty of times they ask me to do stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I got nothing. I've never painted anybody's nails or.
Yeah. They definitely have a little bit of like you in them. You can see like when they wrestle and stuff,
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Well, see, and that's like that. Those are the things that are going to come into play because like I grew up with a brother.
Yeah.
I got no clue. Mm-hmm. And my mom, like she was such a good boy mom that she was able to kind of like integrate herself into our horrible boyness all our lives, and she just like dealt with it. And of course, like from a mom, like you learn to be soft and things like that with certain parts of your life. But it was just like Cade and I. And so, we were always beating each other up and being rough. And sometimes it's like, as a dude, there's like that I can't talk. It's like that testosterone. You have to like get out. Like some days you just want to hit something.
Yeah.
And it's usually, you're just like when Cade comes over, I just have to have like that moment of where I just wrap my arm around his neck, you know? And you're like, hey.
Yeah.
It's hard now because he's bigger than me, but.
It's okay.
But yeah, so that's like integrated in with the girls. And so we play a lot like that. And it's just fun. Like they get it. But.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm softer with them, which I'm having to find out that as they get older, I have to be softer, especially with like my oldest, like Lydia, like she's like, she'll tell you, she's like, Daddy, that's too hard. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. It's so difficult. But anyways, so again, it was nice to be able to have that integration. It's only gotten better over time that they've had somebody to kind of hang out with because both roles I think are very important.
Yeah. And I told you, I love how it is too sometimes because they're like my two little best friends, go over there and we, like Lydia, she'll chat it up with me, we'll sit there and talk and it's a lot of fun.
All they do is ask you to play.
Yeah.
When Audrey comes over, sometimes it's so hard because I'm like, I want to spend time with her because we only get so much time during the week. And then, the girls are there. They're like, play with me. Come on now. Like hello. Which is super cute. But it's just funny. Like sometimes I'm like, stop. I want to hang out with them too.
Yeah, it's super cute. And then we're like all sitting on the couch watching a movie. They're like, sit next to me. And you're like, sit next to me.
I know. I'm like, come on. I always end up being alone, I guess. Ladies got to stick together. But with all that being said, like, I guess from your point of view, like coming in and like dealing with some of those things, like especially, like I know there wasn't as much like relationship experience, and then you got thrown into my life, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. Like with your experience with the girls and stuff, like maybe give some insight into like your side of that. Having to integrate and like your feelings that came along with that.
Yeah, it was definitely thought a lot about it before I did it, but I think it's kind of a blessing too that I don't have any relationship experience before you because I don't know. I just liked how I was able to just figure it all out together, Yeah. It was like, it's not like I was in a relationship and so, I know what it's like, I don't know. I just liked how I was able to be thrown into a relationship and figure out, how to like be with somebody and then also deal with all that too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so I guess maybe what you're saying is like because you didn't have any like preconceived like this is what it's like without. You just it was like figuring it out with, and that was it.
Yeah. This is all that's all I know.
Right.
Which I feel like was a blessing.
Yeah. I mean, everything works out for a reason. I definitely think that that's the case.
Yeah.
What was I going to say?
But we've talked about sometimes it is hard, having an ex around all the time, and
yeah,
it doesn't bother me. It's you kind of just have to put a mindset in. It's like, this is just how it is. This is our life, and it doesn't bother me at all. So
yeah, and that takes us into the whole other thing. Like I get there's insecurities there, and and she and I have had so many conversations about this because there's always that like thinking in the back of your head because this obviously like with having 2 kids, my ex is always around. I mean, every time I pick them up, I drop them off. If she comes and grabs them, whatever, for the rest of their lives, she'll be involved. And it's not like somebody who like, oh, we broke up and like I never saw this person again.
Yeah.
So having to deal with that has definitely been difficult for us. But like we've had so many conversations and talked it through, and it was really just building trust.
Yeah. And I think we're both on the same page as we want everybody, to be a part of the girl's life. You know, we want the best for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean, it really boils down to the girls.
Yeah.
Which it's interesting, like now thinking about it, like it does boil down to them. But again, like I've talked about, what was difficult for me is I knew eventually they're going to be old enough that they're going to start their own lives.
Yeah.
So it was like scary for me to think about the fact that I could be alone for possibly ever.
Yeah.
Because that's how I felt about it. I was like, yeah, who's going to want to deal with, with my situation and my past and all that jazz? Because it's like, oh, great, like you've been married before, Yeah. I'm sure that wasn't like, hey, this is awesome, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like that brings a whole other set of difficulties and a list of problems that we've had to work through. But awesome. What's the right word? I'm very grateful that you've been willing to work through those things. So.
Yeah. And then on your end, I'm going to ask you a question.
Go for it. Yeah.
I know I expressed this when we first started dating, is I thought it was like amazing how you were just so ready to, dive into being part of my life. And what was kind of like the moment you were like, because I imagine it was hard for you to date again.
Yeah.
Going through all that, especially at, your age and have kids and stuff. So like, do you have advice for people who, are ready to get back out there, or they're going through a hard time? And
the funny thing is again, like we've talked about this, I wasn't really looking because I was actually like super content at that moment. I knew that eventually, of course, whatever was to happen, I would, I'm still, whatever, I was 25, 26 years old. Well, I would have probably been 25 at the time. So, I was still sitting there going like, wow, I'm still pretty young and there's like a lot of life to go. And I have always wanted to have a family and always wanted a partner because that was just always a goal of mine. I don't like to be alone, and that's not my only driving force, but I like having that camaraderie. There's nobody that you feel closer to than that, essentially you're number one in life. So I knew that eventually I wanted to get there, and it was literally just by chance that you were there, and I just had this feeling. Like that was the thing is I thought really hard about it. I said a lot of prayers and just like thought through the process because we talked. We went to dinner. We kind of moved through things and got to know each other. And were able to kind of like navigate some of that stuff at our own pace, which was super nice. I knew obviously that my past relationship was done. I had already been through all the stuff. It was a long time. It had been a very long time since we had even been in the same household. So I knew that if something were to happen, like if it felt right, that I would be ready. And it just felt right. We were able to connect on a level where we could talk about these things. You were okay with the situation, which I was very surprised about. Mm-hmm. And having like some of those comfort level things be there, that helped me to keep moving forward and go, okay, like I'm okay with this. Because my biggest thing was, honestly, more than anything, it just scared me that I would be judged,
Yeah.
you know, because it wasn't my plan to not be in a relationship anymore. You know, she was the one who decided to leave. So dealing with all of that and then going, okay, like I can move on. This is the next chapter of my life. It was just kind of like one of those things where it took a lot of thinking and a lot of like feeling. And I knew that I wasn't going to go like, oh, I'm getting on Tinder now. And I'm going to like put myself out there on Facebook. Like I'm going to go out here and like go to parties or I don't know. The funny thing is I've never really had to like do any of that, but I was going like, I don't want to do any of that. If something happens and it makes sense, then I'll move forward.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be a natural progression, not like forced, because that just feels weird to me.
Yeah.
You know, because like people cross paths for a reason. And I felt like at that moment that we had crossed paths for a reason. And it was like, what do I have to lose by talking to somebody and just getting to know them?
Yeah. And I feel like we were both kind of going through a lot. So it was just nice to
have
connect.
somebody to talk to.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. I hope that that's like good advice. Like, I guess my main thing is saying like, don't push it. Don't force it. Like take your time to work on yourself and kind of wait for that moment. Like don't push it. Don't make it happen on its own. Just, you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's funny. Recently I've learned that I have friends that I used to be friends with going through a similar situation as you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there are, I feel like, more people that go through this. So what did you learn being on your own and being a dad? What was hard?
Oh, it was just super hard. It still is. You know, obviously we're dating and, you know, we don't live together. We spend time together throughout the week, but like, you know, there's still a good amount of time during the week where we don't see each other and I'm by myself. And that's just, I mean, especially at the beginning, I didn't know what to do. I was so discouraged and it was so difficult not to have, you know, if something happens or I don't know, it's like I just knew that I had to do it on my own and it was so difficult to just be a single parent. Like all of a sudden, snap, boom, it's me and that's it.
Yeah.
And I say what I've learned more than anything is patience.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you just have to sometimes step back and go, okay. And then just take on the challenge. Mm-hmm. You can't get frustrated. You can't get angry. Like you gotta just like grip it and rip it, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like for lack of a better word, because you have no other choice.
Oh yeah.
You know, those kids need you and it's just you. When it's on your time, it's just you. So you have to figure out how to adapt to that. And, you know, the hard part is like some of it's very unnatural to kind of go through because you just don't, for most guys, I should say, you don't have that like maternal like instinct. You know, it's like, rub some dirt on it, you know, but you have to, especially with girls, like you have to find that fine line of being like, okay, I'm here, let's talk this through, but still give like dad advice, you know, in a certain way, you know, because you're still having to portray that role. So finding that balance of like, I'm here and I'm going to be soft and I'll be sweet with you. And it's like, you know, they want to cuddle, they want to lay with you and they want you to tickle their backs and do the little things that like, you know, that make kids feel loved and wanted. Mm-hmm. And that was hard for me to like tap into.
Oh yeah. I definitely love seeing you working in the office and I'm kind of sitting there chatting with you and Lydia comes in like every 10 minutes.
Yes.
Can I have a hug? And each time you kind of just give a little, and you give her a hug because you're like...
It kills me. It honestly, like in my mind, I'm like, I wish you would quit asking me. But then I know at the end of the day that if I refused every hug that she wanted, that like I wouldn't be giving her the things that she needs. And what is a 5-second hug? Yeah. To me, it doesn't mean as much, but I know it means something to her.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure later in life I'll go, you know, man, when she was 5, I'll be looking at her when she's 16 and I'll be going, man, when she was 5, you know, she came in, she wanted a hug.
Like every
And now she hates
minutes.
me.
Now she's saying she hates me.
Right? Now she wants me to die. So I'm like, I try to that was another thing. It was like cherish the little moments and just do those things.
Oh, yeah.
There's some nights I just want to put him to bed. Mm-hmm. But I know if I sit there and I watch a movie with him, at least even just a part of a movie, that's key. That's all that, that's all they want. So, and it was hard one of the biggest things was getting over the hurdle of going, I have to be in a competition with the other parent. Like I felt like my house has to be more fun and my food has to be better and all these things have to be a step above so that they want to be with me. And that was a hard thing for me.
Yeah.
Because eventually I learned like you can't do that. That's not the point.
Yeah.
You have to be you, be the best parent you can, and just do what you know is right. And hopefully, so far, the girls have responded to that in a very positive way because I'm just being a parent.
Yeah.
I'm just checking the boxes.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of going above and beyond. And, all that's going to ever get you is broke. And, you're buying the love at that moment in time.
Yeah.
Which I didn't ever want.
Oh, yeah.
But it was hard. You're
No,
like, well, Dad wants, I want to be fun.
You always don't want to hear your kids be like, oh, like, I want to go back to mommy's, you know? You don't want to hear that. Or, no, I don't want to come over.
Yeah.
But
that's super difficult. That happened a couple times initially, and that was super difficult for me. But eventually, I just learned, like, they're kids.
Yeah.
They just want to have a good time and have fun. And eventually, hopefully, just the way that I've treated them and the way that we've kind of continued to evolve our relationship, hopefully over time that they'll see that and they'll understand that it was always done out of love, whether it was discipline or us having fun.
or taking a whole weekend to rest because they're sick.
Yes. Yeah. Recently, like I don't know, probably 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
I was down and out for a week, literally a whole week. And I had the girls a bunch of extra time that week. And they were so upset with me. They kept going like, when do we go home to mommy? Like, when do we leave? And I was like,
They were pounding on the windows
Yeah.
at one point.
yes. And they were going, mommy, come here. Mommy, show up. And I was like, I'm sorry. I had a fever of like 101 plus for like 6 days in a row. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I do not feel good.
Yeah.
But other than the banging on the window, they enjoyed, they play so well together, and they've figured it out. I mean, over time, everybody can evolve to their situation, and they've done a great job. So
Yeah.
trying. Still difficult. There's still times that I just wish that I had help, but I figured it out.
Yeah.
I've had it multiple times when I've been sick, and I've been sicker than that, and still dealt with
Yeah, I got it done.
dealing with kids that were like 3 and 4
Ugh.
or, younger than that.
Oh, yeah.
Woo. But that's just being a parent.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing a good job.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I think you're doing a good job too.
Thanks.
I know it's hard. She
Enjoy
hates
it.
I like to call her stepmommy, and it makes her so mad. She's shaking her head. It's just funny, okay? It's all in good fun.
Yeah. It's like funny because Lydia's figured it out too, and she thinks it's funny too.
Yes.
She knows it bothers me.
Yep. Has she said it yet?
Yes. And she laughs because she knows,
'Cause she knows
she's
it
so
gets at you.
smart.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They
kill me.
It's so funny.
But so like, okay, so again, I'm going to shove this back on you. So like moving towards the future, like, I know you said that you kind of feel like they're best friends, but like as our relationship progresses, I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit that, I mean, you feel like you kind of are stepping into that role to a certain degree, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit. I get it. It's a lot of this stuff is still technically in its infancy, but still, as our relationship progresses and time moves on, we're getting ready to hit 2 years. I'm sure that some of it kind of feels that way.
Yeah, we definitely, I feel like at the beginning had issues just because I can't like be mad at anybody ever.
Yeah.
And so definitely had some issues with him not listening to me at all.
Yeah,
but I feel like over time, I don't have any issues with him at all.
Well, yeah. And that was one of those things where I think, they're kids. They're going to test the water. They're
Yeah.
like, what can I get away with you, right? And I get that totally. I mean, it's weird. It's somebody else's kids, and we're kind of like going back and forth, and I totally understood that. And
that's like the hardest thing I had to get over is, I feel weird getting mad at them, you know?
Yeah.
It's just an uncomfortable situation for me.
I understand that. And that's why I told you from the get-go, I mean, this is another kind of advice point. I just said, if something is wrong, just call me in. You know, if I'm available, just like say, hey, like, come here, help me out. Like, they're just being a little unruly because they're kids and that can happen. But
yeah. And it's so funny because I don't ever really get mad at them, but you can tell I get annoyed sometimes.
Yeah.
And some, like when they don't, I tell them to do something.
they're
like,
not listening.
Yeah, like
that's usually the
sit
case.
down at the table. I just made dinner or something, and Lydia's always, "Are you mad at me?" I'm like, "Oh,
right," and it just eats through your heart. And you're like, "No, I'm not.
I'm mad at you.
I'm not. I just want you to listen.
I'm sorry."
And that's why I told you, I was like, "Just call me because I don't care."
No, they're great.
It's so different when, and I get this, right? Like that's that fine line, and that's the thing that you have to deal with specifically. They're not your kids,
Yeah,
and that's the hard part. I mean, that's just like the base of it all, and an event, and it'll never be that way, right? I mean, there's scientifically impossible.
Yeah.
But being able to work off of each other and go like, hey, can you help me with this? Can we, and I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
Over time, it was nice because I figured out, just say, this is somebody that I care about and you need to have respect for her. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the turning point when they kind of figured out like, okay, this is not just like dad's friend.
Yeah.
This is somebody who means something to him in a different way. Mm-hmm. Hey, we need to figure this out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's been an adjustment period for them as well. They were young enough. I'm not as worried about it, but they've also had to figure out like, oh, okay, this is how this is. Mom and dad aren't together anymore and they're meeting other people, blah, blah, blah. This is just how this works. And it's just taken some time.
Oh, yeah. I will never forget the first time that I think I've only watched the girls for like an hour before by myself.
Yeah, right.
Because you're usually always there when I come over, and it was like you had to go do something real quick. And literally the moment you left, I will never forget Elsie just screaming. And she's the quietest, and I was like, what is going
right.
on?
She barely says anything.
And she just started screaming, and I was like, what?
I think, did you call me or did you text me? I think you called me.
No, I texted you and I was like, I'm about to video her because you're never going to believe this. She just like go full on crazy.
You probably hate me for it too. I just laughed.
I was like, I had to laugh because I was like, what's going on?
Well, that's kind of been the more comical side of the whole situation is sometimes I have to giggle a little bit because I have the experience. Obviously I've been there every step of raising them. Yeah. And then it was like, for you, it was like, here you go. Like, welcome to kind of being a parent. Like, good luck. And some of the things that happen, I just laugh at. Because there was no one really around to laugh at me. So it was just funny. Like, I think about some of the things that I've been through with the girls, and it just makes me laugh. Yeah. And now I get to see you experience it. Yeah.
And I feel like Lydia can, like, put me down in an argument.
Oh, yeah.
She can.
Yeah. Just like we.
Just like.
She gets me sometimes.
Oh. Just brutal.
And Elsa's just a love bug. She just wants to love on people, and she wants to play with her Barbie dolls.
So fun.
And cry. She's kind of like you.
Yeah. We connect.
A lot of emotionality going on.
We connect.
Believe me though, sometimes it's hard because, man, I feel outnumbered.
You are.
I know. And I know plenty of dads that are in the same boat, and it's so funny.
Oh yeah, but I say this all the time. There's nothing like being a daddy's girl,
Yes. I look forward to that.
Fantastic for them.
I know it'll take time.
Yes.
I know you love your dad to death, so.
Yes.
But you're also 22, so.
Yeah.
I got a long way to go. Not that it's not good right now, but I know everybody has kind of said when they hit like double digits, it does get difficult. Like boys are difficult at the beginning and girls start to be difficult towards the end.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So I'm gearing myself up for that. And see, I need you there so that you can help me out with all the difficult talks because I'm not doing that.
What?
I'm out. I don't know if I can do it.
Come on, you can do it.
I don't know.
I feel like you can definitely do it.
I could do it, but I would be super uncomfortable.
It's okay.
Like, so let's talk about your changing body. And then I'd be like, never mind. Audrey!
I feel like you would have like diagrams and everything. You would like be on it.
Diagrams.
You would like
I'm not
watch
showing
YouTube videos.
No. I'm not that comfortable with it.
Oh, I feel like it's gonna happen.
I don't know. That was the thing. Like both of the girls, like I didn't even get to see them born. Like they were both C-section, emergency C-sections. I wasn't even allowed to go through the doors. So, and that was like the part I was most nervous about. I was like, I don't want to see any of that. And I know that sounds really funny, but it's like I was out. And so, still to this day, like there's just I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know. All of it's just different, right? I'm a dude.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
I know it's funny. You're like, ugh, and then I'm sitting. It's like it's a beautiful thing.
I know. See, and that's exactly right. You know, and I'm like, I'm not denying that, but then I'm also like, it's super weird to think about because obviously the only thing I got is like illustrations in my head, like of what I assume, and I've seen like animal births, you know, like on TV. That's as much. So I got nothing. I'm imagining, you know, like a horse.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, that's horrible.
Okay.
On that note,
It's getting weird.
how did I make it awkward?
It's getting weird.
Anyways, so I think we've covered everything with the girls, unless you have like another question for me. We're figuring it out one day at a time. That's the thing. It's like she has been willing to deal with me and the girls and all that stuff. And, you know, it's just, again, there are plenty of things that come up that we just have to like work through.
Yeah.
How are we going to figure this out?
Be patient with each other and.
Yep. And just be supportive.
Yeah.
Which I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
You've helped a lot. So it has been nice, you know, not that I went through my situation alone. You know, I have family and I had gotten some help. I was going to a counselor and things like that, trying to work through my feelings with the whole situation. And so like all that was helpful, but it was still really difficult not to have the companionship. So I appreciate your companionship.
I appreciate your companionship.
And dealing with all the crap.
Not crap.
It's crap. Hopefully everything evens out. Like, and I don't know what everybody's situation is, but we're still dealing with legality tidbits here and there, trying to figure out little things and tweak agreements and stuff like that over time. You know, as the girls get older, it only gets more difficult. They have more and more things that we have to think about, like schooling and where they need to be and what works best for them, essentially. So we're still trying to figure out some of that stuff, and it's not always easy for us to talk. So it's nice, again, to be like, hey, you know, today's going to be a little difficult.
Yeah.
And we can just, like, be there for each other. And it's just nice that, like, especially at this point, like, it doesn't bother you so much. Like, trust me, we're in this relationship together, which is super awesome.
Yeah.
So
definitely got a lot better over time.
Yeah, I get that. The insecurity, how could it not be
That's
there?
the biggest thing with all of it is just being a woman, you know, in my position, just insecure.
Yep. But we figured it out.
Not upset about any of it or angry or just insecure.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Well, especially at the beginning, I get it. Like, it was not going to happen, but I know you were worried about like us getting back together.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
And
you
I'm
guys
like,
you have a long history with somebody, you
Yes.
know, and they're always around, and it's not like I was upset with you or mad at you or, you know, it's just.
Well, yeah, you didn't want to be vested in a relationship and then have something happen. Like, I get it. Like, you were kind of guarding your heart, and
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
How could somebody not in this situation?
Yeah.
Do you have any advice about that? Like how to deal with it?
I don't know. Just trust, I guess. Over time, that's probably why it's difficult, but you got to learn to trust somebody. And
Right.
so you kind of just have to get through it, you know, talk it out with somebody. And then over time, we don't really have to talk about it that much because you know how I feel, you know, I know how you feel.
Yep.
Sometimes we remind each other, you know, on difficult days, but I know you got my back.
Heck yeah. Okay, so I think we've talked enough about all that serious stuff.
Yes.
Okay. Let me check. Okay. Before we get off of here, just for fun, what is your ideal date night?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have thought about this.
I know. I got you with the question right at the end.
It's hard. Eat some good food.
Always food. I don't blame you there at all.
With good dessert.
The first date that we went on, like our first real official date, we went to Union 50 and she had never been. And the food was absolutely fantastic.
So good.
I spoiled her right from the get-go.
So good. Yeah, and then we went to...
Tappers.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so much fun. Our first date was the best first date I've ever had.
Yeah.
And we both agree on that for sure. It was
so good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We had such a good time.
We did. We had a lot of fun.
Yes.
You sat in your car and listened to Motley Crue.
That's right.
Right after the arcade.
Because you told me you liked Motley Crue, and I was
did.
like, what?
We
So I
sat-
had to turn it on.
Yeah, listen to it. It's great.
I was like, oh, wow. Okay, I think I can deal with this.
Definitely like get some good food, and I'm kind of a homebody, so
Yeah.
I think like just like getting a movie and just snuggling up.
Yep, good food, movie.
Yeah, but I really
Make
like.
you a milkshake.
Oh yeah, which is what we did yesterday.
I know.
We got some good food and went and watched a movie.
Yes, we went to Taku in Columbus.
So good.
Super good. Service was awesome. It was super fast, and they
Ryan.
were super nice. What?
Ryan.
Oh my gosh, whatever. How do I put this? So Taku, it's a Japanese restaurant. So the servers are Japanese. Very nice, but like he had a pretty thick accent. His English was good, but he had a thick accent, so you kind of had to listen close. But she was laughing because we left, and his name tag just said Ryan. But I was like, I don't know. But anyways, gotta try it. Super good if you haven't been. Worth it. I got sushi. She's not a big sushi fan, although she tried it and liked it. They had
Loved
a
it.
lot of good like Americanized rolls that are,
Oh, yeah.
like tempura and shrimp and easy stuff. Like one of them, mine had like steak on the top of it.
So
It
good.
was super good. Then she got like a teriyaki chicken. It was all phenomenal. I know we're plugging everything today. Taku, you gotta
Yeah.
go get you some donuts, get you an espresso
Obviously,
machine.
we like food.
Yeah, we don't mess around.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. We don't understand how we are not 500 pounds.
Yes.
We eat so much.
And if you go to Nashville too, I got to say this, go to Hattie B's. It's fried chicken. You can get it hot. You can get it not hot. They have tenders. They have
Mac and cheese.
mac and cheese. They have so much going on. Be ready. There's always a line out the door. I don't care what time you
Worth
go.
it.
I've never seen a line not out the door. Literally, people are like piling in the parking lot before it opens, like 30 minutes to an hour. But they shuffle people in and out of there really quickly. So again, Hattie B's, go check it out. It's worth even just like to drive. It's 4 hours from Indy, and you gain an hour when you get there because of the time change. So do it. It's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
So again, right? Go get your donuts and your coffee, and then get your chicken, and yeah.
Milkshakes and just eat a bunch of food.
Yeah. I know we're doing the Nashville recommendations.
We love it.
She said milkshake too. You have to go. They're closed on Mondays. We keep making that mistake. It's called Legendary, like milk.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to go. They're like the biggest, craziest, awesome milkshakes. Like they have one that literally has a whole piece of cheesecake on the rim on the top. It's worth it. I know a lot of people go like, "Oh my gosh, that's insane," but it's worth it. We've only been once, but we loved it. We couldn't finish them, but they were super good. It was just fun. They're like different. It's very Instagram worthy. It's awesome. So yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Yeah. What's your ideal date?
My ideal date. Let's see. I like being able. I guess maybe like the perfect night would be to do kind of what we did. Like again.
Yeah.
I like to go downtown, like eat somewhere on Mass Ave. I really want to try 16-bit. It's the new bar that's like a arcade as well.
Okay.
It looks really cool. So like just I'm not really like a big like let's go to the movies. Like let's go again like food, right? Obviously, let's go eat some good food and go have some fun and call it a night.
Yeah.
I don't need to be out all night. Get too old for that. Okay, so I guess lastly, after all this, if anybody's going through a similar situation, you find yourself trying to figure some things out. Obviously, I was on like the receiving end of everything, so I can kind of like help on that side of things. And Audrey has now had to come in and deal with things from another side, coming in and dealing with the situation, and with me having kids previously, all of those little things. If you have any questions or you're going through the process, feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
You can send us a message or like DM us on any Life and Lattes pages, Facebook, Instagram, anything like that. My personal page should be linked on Life and Lattes. Feel free. She and I can both answer questions. We'd be happy to. We know it's difficult. There's a lot to it, but we're dealing with it. We're figuring things out. And I think we can offer a lot of advice or a lot of help. Even if maybe you're just going through a divorce and you just need some help, you just want somebody to talk to, just somebody to kind of like resonate with, feel free to reach out. I'm here. I'm sure that Audrey would be more than willing to help out as well. So just wanted to let everybody know that we can help out with that. So we kind of felt like this was an important topic to talk about, and have been kind of excited to share. And all I've ever really wanted to do was, after this whole situation, was be able to help people if they're in the similar. And if you want to hear more about my story, again, it's Triflix, Triflix. Look, they're anywhere on any podcast app, Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Google, whatever. Check out my episode 5, and you can kind of like hear a little bit more about the backstory. And so that's pretty much it. So again, if you have any questions, reach out. I know we announced this past week the winner of our fall giveaway. Liv is kind of taking care of that, but we would like to do at least one more before the end of the year, so look out for that. We're always open for suggestions, comments, questions. Let us know how we're doing. We're going to try to put some more stuff together. We have a lot of ideas for 2020, and we want to keep building the podcast, and we appreciate everybody who's listening. So that's it. Thanks, Audrey, for coming on. You did great.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.